Yep, no problem. Okay, so
Mhm.
a big welcome to everybody for our webinar session. It's a very specialist session and very close to my heart because this is my expertise, and it's taken me 20 years to write this PowerPoint. There's just so much experience in it of my travels over 3 countries. So I'm going to be sharing today 3 secrets to charging your owners $500 extra in fees or fee income each year. So here is what we're going to learn today, and just get my PowerPoint working. Here we go. All right, so we're going to be talking, firstly, secret number 1. I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 client types that you should never increase your fees with. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be teaching you, it's just as important to know the clients that you should not increase fees with as opposed to the ones that you do. You've got to know which ones you must avoid. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself in a bit of trouble. All right. Also, secret number 2, the 10 different fees that are easier to charge, and the ones that you need to be careful of. So not all fees are created equal, and they're not treated the same, particularly by your owners. You need to know which ones that they are particularly focused on and which ones they really don't care too much about. All right. And also secret number 3, how much business you are likely to lose. All right. And we're going to be breaking a few myths today. So again, really excited about this. But what this means from this information that I'm giving you, again, it's taken me 20 years of my experience. It is actually July 3rd. Actually, no, it was about this time 20 years ago when I first stumbled across increasing my fees and working out how easy it was. But what I'm going to teach you today, what this means is that you'll be able to charge more and make more with your current owners than you ever thought possible. In fact, we're going to be showing you how easy it is to make an extra $500 per door per year. Now, we love to use the word door. Our American friends taught us the word door. In Australia, we use the word property. The word property sometimes means something different in the US. So today we're going to use the word door. And today we do have people from all 3 countries. We've got Australia, New Zealand, and the United States with us today. But what this means is if you've got 100 doors, and you implement what we're going to teach you, you're likely going to find an extra $50,000 a year. Now, if you've got 200, that's an extra $100,000 a year. If you've got 500 doors, you've got a bigger rent roll, then you can find, with what we're teaching you, an extra $250,000 a year. And of course, if you've got a big rent roll, we do see a few of these around, and we see a lot more actually in New Zealand. But you do the math. If you've got 1,000 doors, I mean, that is $500,000 extra over and above. And you just got to think, if you were to find an extra 50 grand or 100 grand in your business right now using traditional ways, if you had to go and grow, you would probably have to double your numbers to find that extra inner profit margin. All righty. So we're not teaching you today to double your rent roll size. We're teaching you how to find that extra profit margin just with the clients that you have right now. Now, here is a bonus, and we're going to give this link out. Dennis is going to give this link out at the end of the presentation. Now, I get it. Some people may not be able to attend the live session today. They're watching the recording, but for the people that stay to the end, this is 20 years of my pain and on. Actually, no, it's longer than that because I've been in the industry 30 years, but these are all the things that cause pain and problems. And there's too many businesses out there that sign up anything with a roof and a front door. That's the only criteria they have. Well, here's another 8 criteria that you need to be aware of before you say yes to the property. You see, you understand the importance of tenant selection. But what about owner and property selection too? This easy 1-page tool is going to give you those parameters to work around. Now, here is a USA warning. I do get in the USA that we've got a few more sensitive laws around discrimination than perhaps what we have here in Australia and New Zealand. So in number 3, where it talks about location, suburbs, or areas that you may want to not work in, well, you're just going to have to navigate around that particular rule there and maybe ignore that. But for everyone else, that rule will certainly apply. All right, moving on. Now, who are we and why should you listen to us? Well, firstly, myself, I am a property management coach and trainer. I only understand property management. I am a property manager by trade. I'm not coming in with some sort of marketing background or some corporate background or some university degree. I got none of that stuff. In fact, I am a university dropout. And I first started as a property manager in 1989 in Adelaide of South Australia. This is where I live. And I have over 15 years frontline, or what I call my military experience as a property manager, a property inspector. So I did all the move in or ingoing inspections, all the move out inspections, and all the routine inspections for 500 properties, what is likely the most difficult suburbs here in Adelaide. I've also been a senior property manager, managing a team of property managers in my time. But more notably, I managed 18 offices with 28 property managers over several years as a state property manager for a well-known, well-respected real estate brand. In fact, my territory was a third of the size of Australia. And I looked after all the recruiting, all the interviewing, training and writing all the procedures, training the procedures, making sure that the late rent payers paid and all those sorts of things, and had an absolute ball managing 28 property managers spread across the country. So that certainly gave me a lot of experience in that time as well. We bought 16 rent rolls, brought them on board. And so you can imagine I've got all sorts of experience. But for the last 15 years, I've fine-tuned my experience on how to get higher and better fees with new and current owners, aside from other things that I do as well. And I've worked with literally hundreds of property management companies spread over Australia, New Zealand, and also a number of them in the United States. Now, Dennis, if you want to just share a bit about yourself and also Michael as well.
Yeah, certainly can. So my name's Dennis. I was a BDM for a company called Integrity Real Estate in the Shalaban of New South Wales, and over a 4-year period listed 920 plus properties, and 92% of those were also at full fee. So poor Darren didn't get to do any work in my office. You know, he was quite surprised at that
Dennis,
full
you
fee.
remember I actually did visit you once, and what was that
Yep.
about? I was increasing the fees with one of your competitors down the road, but I stayed at your place.
That's right, which was good. And it was really funny because you wouldn't tell me who you were doing it for, but I knew who it was.
That was all confidential. Well,
Yeah.
I simply drove in from a 3-hour drive in, hired a car to come and increase the fees with one of your competitors. So,
Which was cool because I knew who it was anyway. And that was awesome. So over a 4-year period, listing lots of properties. And I was on track to list 400 properties, and then I gave away being a real estate agent and went into full-time coaching in 2013. Collectively was helping agencies as BDM coach list over 300 properties per month, and now traveling around Australia, New Zealand, the United States. We've just broken into the UK as well, doing some training over there. And yeah, look, geez, Darren, we'd be helping more than 300 a month now with Inspired Growth Training.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell us about
and Michael Sands, he's just an entrepreneur on his own as well, which is absolutely amazing. Having 650 plus properties, he grew a rent roll in a 4-year period with 1.5 staff. Let's just say that. That's right, 1.5 staff.
1.5 staff for 650 doors. And what was his secret there, Dennis?
Yeah, well, let's also just add over 3 states and 84 suburbs as well. And the secret sauce was his amazing ability to have his marketing, and he had stringent procedures put in place with virtual assistants as well. And, you know, it took him 2 years to get to this period. And then for 2 years, he experienced 0 vacancy, which was just absolutely amazing. You know, currently Michael also now heads up a virtual assistant division, niche outsourcing in the Philippines, and it's more than 30 now, but that's okay. And also does all the traveling with us for Inspired Growth Training. So it really, between the 3 of us, we've got our 3 different criterias of specialties.
I think it's amazing, Dennis, with the 1.5 staff managing 650 doors, but obviously he had a team of virtual assistants as well. So obviously you can't manage 650 doors with 1.5 people, but he's a virtual assistant expert, and he certainly brought that expertise into Inspired Growth Training. But here, Dennis, some of our favorite photos. So up on the top left, which is also on the bottom right, that's our masterclass, 2-day masterclass that we did with in-depth growth training. Boy, we smashed people's brains, didn't we, over the 2 days, 16 hours of content, but absolutely loved it, because you and I know we love to teach deep strategies. On the bottom left, this is Michael together with us speaking at the Door Grow Live event, which was in Missouri, and it was just snowing inches of snow outside at the time in that particular place where we were, which was quite special for us Australians, because we don't have snow where we live. So, you know, snow is something that's very, very special. We do have snow in Australia, of course, but not where we particularly live. So, and the top right corner there, that's our Geared for Growth National Conference that we did in 2017. And that's where Dennis and I realized we got some amazing synergies. And out of that experience together on our national tour, which we sold out so many different events, we then formed Inspired Growth Training. So, moving on, but I just want to share with you our teaching on increasing fees successfully with new and current clients. Of course, it's no good doing it with current clients if you're not also going to do it with new clients as well, and move to a whole new fee level across the board. But before we do, I just want to do a bit of a poll. I want to find a little bit more about you, who we've got in the room. And so what is your current position? And I'm going to bring up a poll shortly. Are you a business owner or broker? Are you a department head, which means you're like a manager type person, but you're not managing properties yourself, you're managing staff only? Are you a BDM, so you're that salesperson to go out and sign up new doors? Or are you a senior property manager, which generally you're a property manager, but you're also managing a team as well? So I'm just going to bring up our poll. Just bear with me 2 secs. And what is your current position? Also, are you a property manager as well? So, all right, let's just launch the poll and tell us a little bit about yourself. And hopefully that's come up there. Just let us know.
Yep, it's there. I'm not allowed to vote.
It's excellent. Okay. Well, it looks like, Dennis, we have just about everybody in the room is a business owner. Excellent.
There you go.
Okay. And moving on, how long have you been in the industry for? So I'm just going to end that poll. Actually, share the results. Sorry, guys, just bear with me. I'm a little bit clunky on this sort of thing. And I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to bring up the next poll. Here we go. And how long have you been in the PM industry for? Okay, so let's launch that and let us know how long you've been in the industry for. Wow. Most people have been in the industry more than 10 years. So wow, we got some well-experienced people. That's fantastic. Really good to have those, that level of quality in the room. And share the results there. And next we want to bring up, okay, so the next poll is, how many doors do you manage? So have you got less than 100, 100 to 500, or you've got more than 500? Let's just bring that up now, and let's go here. There we go. And launch poll. Okay, so we got a lot more. We've got people in the bottom bracket, the less than 100. Okay, and we've got 1 to 500, which is generally, Dennis, where we see a lot of people operate. And we got one with more than 500. Okay, and I'll just share those results. And last question now is, what's your biggest problem right now? So, so could it be that you'd like to increase your fees with new and current clients, but you're worried it's going to damage your business? Or you purchased a rent roll, a business some time ago, and you want to get those clients consistent with your current charges because they're probably all over the shop, or you're charging them a lot less. They're paying a lot less than what you're currently getting. Or we just want to increase our fees with new business. We don't want to touch our current owners. You might be too frightened of that. And you just want to pump up those new fees and new business. So I'm just going to share those results. Sorry, guys. And let's go to the last one here. Your biggest problem. There we go. Yep. Same as before, Dennis. Most people are in that first category. Of course, we've got a couple that just want to look at increasing fees with new business.
Okay.
And no, that's cool. All right, let's end this poll and share results. And we are all done. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Really appreciate that. It gives us some useful information to work with. And okay, well, let's just have a look at some things that are going to help you. And let's talk about secret number one, which is the 5 client types that you should never increase your fees with. But does this sound familiar? You'd like to get better fees with your current clients, but cheap agents down the road just seem to be forever discounting. If you increased your fees, you fear that your clients would simply move their business elsewhere. Is that something that you might fear? Or you'd like to increase your owners, charge your owners more, but you've got too many of those money tight owners, or they've been with you so long, and so you think they might leave if you increase their fees, or they're just going to get angry because they've been with you for such a long time if you increase your fees. Or you bought a rent roll some time back and their fees are now all over the shop and not at all consistent. They're paying a lot lower with what you're charging now, and of course you'd like to be able to increase those, but you don't know how to do that. Well, the fees you charge right now are much better than what you're charging older clients. So these are people that you've had for a very, very long time. You didn't purchase them in a rent roll, but you signed them up perhaps when you first started your agency, and you perhaps signed them up on cheap deals. But you wished you had consistency with the same fees with the owners across the board. All right, but as a result, you need to focus on more net growth. Alrighty, so if you're not increasing your fees with current clients, you're going to need to focus more on net growth to get more fee income. You really have to grow your rent roll more, grow your business more to get more fee income. But getting more growth just seems harder and harder. And it's painfully slow, or maybe it's stagnated, or maybe your growth, your net growth is in fact not going forwards. You've got net loss happening at the moment. Or what about the discounting pressure you might be feeling from other agents? And this places more pressure on you to decrease your fees, and you think, well, I have to become more competitive in the market. My fees are just going to have to come down for new business rather than actually increasing them. And your profit margin then can come under pressure. And it's harder to make a profit under those circumstances. Or you're finding it harder to pay your staff. And of course, if you start putting your fees down, you're going to find it harder to pay your staff and resource your business better and train your people. And of course, good property managers, well, they're not going to be paid discount wages. Quality property managers want to be paid quality wages. And as the business owner, you become more disillusioned and you think, well, you know, what's the point? And your incentive as a business owner to operate a business that should be delivering a quality income and lifestyle, in fact, is diminishing. And perhaps you may be feeling a bit disillusioned as well. So, but luckily there is a solution, but the solution is the one thing that most business owners in property management will absolutely reject and believe it won't work for them. But let's talk about that first. So let's talk about those traditional old school gyms. You know, when I've been going to a gym for years and years, and, you know, way back when I would have to wait until they open at 6 or 7 in the morning to go in and do my, and go into a staff gym, and they might be shutting at 6, 7 or 8 at night. They maybe not even be open on the weekends or on a Sunday or something like that. And I was locked in. And can you imagine a business owner with a gym, running a gym like that, and someone came along and said, hey, by the way, do you know you could open your gym 24 hours? You don't have to staff it 24 hours, but you can open it very, very successfully. Can you imagine what those traditional gym owners would say? Well, that's not going to work. You know, what if someone gets injured? Or they'll just come up with a whole raft of reasons why that you can't have a gym open if it's not staff operated. Now, my dad owned a string of gyms, and I can imagine me going to him back then, 20 years ago, saying, hey, do you know you can actually open your gym 24/7? He'll tell me, you've got rocks in your head. It can't work, won't work. What if someone gets injured? We need to have the place staffed and supervised and blah, 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 blah. But what happened? What happened? Anytime Fitness opened up and opened 24 hours, or this other gym called 24 Hours Access, or Jets and Zap Fitness and all these different brands. And now what's happened is the traditional gyms have more or less become extinct. But can you imagine the business owners that simply held on to that old mindset? Okay. And of course that mindset wasn't true. Of course they could open 24/7 under a different model. Now let's just look at another mindset example here, the letting fee ban that happened in New Zealand. Now, Of course, Australia and the United States for years and years and years and years and years and years, we've been very successfully charging the leasing fee. And of course, for our Americans, the word letting is actually leasing. And in New Zealand, though, very, very successfully, they were able to charge the tenant the leasing or the letting fee. But the New Zealand government came in and said, look, so sad, too bad. You are no longer, as of December 2018, you're no longer legally going to be able to charge the tenant the letting fee. And the whole of the agent community was in an uproar. It's like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? You know, we're going to lose all this leasing fee income that we've been getting up till now. Oh my goodness me, what are we going to do? How are we going to operate with 20% less income? I mean, oh my goodness, we're going to have to sell our rent rolls, and all of this fear just sort of, you know, washed over the whole agent community in New Zealand. And Dennis and I are just sitting back and going, oh my goodness, we don't believe this. It's like,
well, Darren, we saw an email, right, that was telling everyone to sell their rent roll. There are two choices: sell your rent roll or absorb the fees.
well, these are your options, you know.
Yeah.
Learn to operate on 20% less income, sell your rent roll. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this?
I was shocked.
Just start charging your owners. Oh no. And the fear was palpable. So Dennis and I put on an event called Geared for Change. We packed out the room. How do we pack out the room? Because of fear. And everyone had this mindset, oh my goodness, how are you going to charge the owner? The owners are going to leave. And what happened? Of course, come December 2018, the world didn't end. Most agents immediately started charging the owner. It was never a problem. There were still some agents that wouldn't charge, but soon after they came on board, and now this is just history. Everybody's now charging the leasing fee very, very successfully. So my point is, what they thought was going to happen, their mindset of what was going to happen wasn't true. It was actually, it was a fear mindset, and reality, you see, it's the same with fee maximization. It's the same with adding fees to your clients. You see, no matter where I go in Australia or in New Zealand, or if I go to the United States and I say to a business owner or to their staff, hey, did you know you can successfully get increased fees with your current owners? They'll go, Darren, you got rocks in your head. You're from Adelaide, or you're from Australia. You know, you can do it over there, but you can't do it here. Darren, our owners, they're all too money tight. Darren, they've been with us forever. They get angry. Oh no, Darren, you got no idea the discounting we've got going down the road with other. And I just get given every reason why what I teach can't work, won't work for them, but it'll work for everyone else, you know, in the United States, or everyone else in New Zealand, everyone. No matter where I've gone, this is what people have said to me. In fact, I have a bit of a personal joke that if I just took one piece of the map of every place where a person said what I teach won't work, can't work, won't work for them, and I put all of those pieces onto a big table, I bet all those pieces would form the map of Australia, they would form the map of New Zealand, they would form the map of the United States. But of course, that's what people fear. That's the mindset. And we know from what I've done, I know, and what Dennis knows, this is simply not true. You see, the truth is everyone has some level of fear about increasing their property management fees. And guys, I just want to encourage you, it's just normal. So right now, the thought of increasing your fees, no doubt there's a lot of fear, and we're going to deal with that today. Now, here is a gentleman called Luke Edinger, who also was fearful about increasing his fees. He's actually based in Connecticut, but let's have a look and see what he's got to say.
We believed that we could get higher fees, but when you started talking to us about the fee levels that we'd be able to achieve, I'll be honest, I was a little hesitant and nervous. I didn't want to rock the boat too much. I like the idea of pushing the fees up, but I didn't want to lose clients in a big way.
Okay. And so your main fears at the time, of course, was just losing owners. That was your first thought?
Yeah, it was. I was afraid that when we pushed the fees that we had some clients that would go, especially some of our investor clients.
Yeah. And in your market at the time, did you have other cheaper agents or discounting agents? So you had that pressure there. Did you have that in your marketplace?
Yeah, absolutely. We weren't priced at absolutely the top of the market, but we definitely weren't the bottom of the market either. There was people that were 10 and 20% lower than us. on our higher price stuff, there was people that were half price compared to what we were starting at before we made any of the fee max changes.
Cool. Alrighty. So what I want to explain here is you need to understand why adding and increasing fees work. So let's have a look at that. And this is an analogy I like to use in training. So let's just say that, I mean, ladies in the room, if they're watching this, what I find with ladies, typically they like to get their hair done. Now, I'm not going to go get my hair done every 6 weeks like this because I've got hardly any hair left. Maybe some of the gentlemen in the room could relate, but with ladies here, they like to go and get their hair done every 6 weeks. And just because let's say that you've been visiting Jan, the hairdresser, for many, many years, and you go to see Jan. Now, please note, ladies, I bet you're not price checking all of the hair salons in your area every 6 weeks. I bet you're saying, no, Darren, that's ridiculous. I use such and such. Let's just say that person's name's Jan. So you go along the salon, you're sitting down, you're waiting to get your hair report, and then Jan comes over and she says, hey, I just want to let you know, look, the boss has had to put up the rates. The electricity's gone up, products gone up, all sorts has gone up, and we've had to increase our fees by 20%. What are you going to do? Are you going to get up and go, well, Jan, love your hair, love your work, but your fees suck. I'm going to leave. And then you go and fee shop 10 different salons down the road because cheap fees is really, really important. Or what are you going to do? You're just going to go, well, I'm going to stay because Jan does my hair. You're going to consider that this fee issue is not much of a problem. So let's have a look at another example here. Let's now, with our bosses in the room here, and let's talk about your accountants. And let's say that you've been using, no doubt, and you just put in the chat here, let me know how many years have you been using your accountant for? And I bet when you call your accountant, you go, hey, Bob, and he doesn't go, oh, sorry, just before we start, I just need to do a quick security check. Darren, what's your mother's maiden name? What's your date of birth? And they'd have to do this. I bet they don't do that. They just go, oh, hi, Bob. Oh, hi, John. How you going? And then you get talking about the business straight away because that person has your business history already. Now, let's just say, for example, I'm an accountant and I come into your area and I want to get new business because I've got to get new clients because I've got to run a profitable business. So I send a letter out to every business owner in the area and I say, hey, I'm an accountant. Whatever your fees are, I'm going to charge you 20% less. Will you bring your business over to me? And I bet you're thinking, well, no, that's not enough, Darren, to make me change. Why? Because you have an established relationship with Bob the accountant. You're not there because of cheap fees. You're there because of peace of mind. You're there because of they know your history. You're there because of the relationship, the connection. You can give 10 different reasons. So you got to think, okay, if you're not going to leave Jan because she put up her fees, and you're not going to leave Bob because you got offered a cheaper deal down the road, why are your owners going to be any different than that? So what we find is that your owners, your current owners, are the three main reasons why your clients will stay. They are in a relationship-based business with you. You're not in some call center based overseas that when they dial 3 and then they dial 1 and then they dial 5 and then they go through to some person with a foreign accent. No, they're dealing with you. They're connected to you. That's worth something to them. People in general don't like change. They would rather stay where their solution is, where their peace of mind is, where they are settled, where they have a solution to their problem. In general, human nature is people don't like to change unnecessarily. Now, if you do increase their fees, they may grumble now and they may spit and carry on a little bit and maybe give you a few phone calls about your fee changes, but in 2 to 3 months' time, they've forgotten about it. The beauty is your old fees are completely forgotten about. It gets wiped from their memory. All righty? So that is one of the beauty things about it. But here is something else. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why your clients don't leave. Your clients fear something even greater than paying more. They fear something more than increased fees. And I'm going to share that with you. You're going to have an aha moment here. You see, when they first came to you, when they first came and they purchased, say, their first rental property, they were in a different world when they first met you. So just think of before they met you. They were scared. They feared the tenant from hell. You see, they thought, all right, I need to get a property investment. I understand I've got to invest in my future, and property seems to be the best thing. But oh my goodness me, have you seen those shows on TV where they show those trashed properties and those tenants from hell? Oh my goodness me, I would hate for that to happen to me. And they're really fearful about that, or they fear their mortgage not being paid, and it keeps them awake at night, anxious. And they fear that the bank's going to come and foreclose on them if they can't get their mortgage paid, if the rent doesn't get paid. So they're really, really anxious. But here is something: when they signed with you, something changed. You see, when they signed up with you, they gave you their anxiety. They gave you their fear. They gave you their property to manage. They placed those things that they were anxious about into your hands, and in return, you gave them peace of mind. Such an amazing thing. It's all about peace of mind. You see, you provided them peace of mind when they signed up with you, and you secured them a tenant. From that point, it went from front of mind, where they were stressed about it, where they were anxious about it, and it went to back of mind, and it stayed there. And their stress was relieved. They had this real, thank goodness for that, particularly when you called them and said, hey, by the way, we've got a great tenant. They're moving in next week. And now everything went to back of mind. They can set and forget about it. It's in your hands. They trust you. They got confident, and they can get on with all the other, problems that are going on in their life. Okay. Just like everybody's got issues, but remember that moment you lifted that burden. But sometime later, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the track, they get a letter in the post. Imagine this. And it says, due to the ever increasing cost of business and also the cost of legislative compliance, technology costs and other expenses rising, and also for the fact that we haven't reviewed our overall fees for 5 years, we'll have to make some changes, and they are. So they got a letter in the post or an email with that. What are they going to do? Given what I've just explained and that happy place at been, now they've been confronted with a decision. You see, yeah, they are going to do a seesaw in their head, and the scales come out, and they're going to go, all right, I've got to pay more, and I don't like paying more, but what's the alternative? What's the alternative? I either pay more and stay, or I leave. You see, most people value their peace of mind over everything else. They are happy to maintain, and they maintain that peace of mind. Most people, you see, I use the word most people are happy to pay more and stay to keep their happy place, to keep that place of peace of mind. You see, with most people, they fear being in a worse off situation. You see, if you left Jan, just think about the hairdressers. If you left Jan and went down the road and went and fee shopped 10 different salons, which you know is ridiculous and you'd never do that, you could be at risk of something else. One, you haven't got Jan anymore. You could be at risk, ladies, of having a very, very bad hair day. And so just like with hairdressing, that's what you fear. That's why you'll stay with your peace of mind with Jan and pay more. Your owners are the same. They fear being in a worse off situation. They could lose a lot more, and that's why it's much easier to pay a bit more and stay. So the key to fee increasing and its success depends on their level of peace of mind with you when you ask them to pay more. This is where we're getting into now, and understanding where the icebergs lay in the field before you, and understanding what they look like, and then how to navigate around them. You see, this is why what I'm teaching here is not location based. I'm not saying it works better in Florida as opposed to Sydney. It doesn't. It's all about, we only increase the fees of the owners that have a level of peace of mind with you, and we avoid the ones that don't. This is not location based. It doesn't work particularly well in one particular area and not in another. It's all to do with how much peace of mind they've got when you send them an email to increase their fees, or you send them a letter in the post. So these are the 5 client types you are not to increase your fees with, because if their peace of mind is unstable, or it's been destabilized, or they are not settled, or they are not mature with their peace of mind with you, you don't increase your fees. So who are these 5 client types? Now, particularly in Western Australia, South Australia, Northern Territory, we do have what's called fixed term management agreements. In Western Australia, very typically, they sign them up every 2 years and they keep them in fixed. In South Australia, we might have a first 12 months of fixed term management agreement, then going on to an open. Whereas everyone else in the eastern states of Australia, New Zealand, United States, very typically you have an open agreement. So point 1 is probably not applicable to most of you. Now, those that are new clients in the last 12 months. So if you've signed up anyone new in the last 12 months, well, their peace of mind is not settled in enough yet. They haven't been with you enough to put out your hand. You see, when they signed up your fees. That was the deal that you both agreed to, whatever that was. To go to them again 6 months later and say, hey, by the way, so sad, too bad, you have to pay more. Well, they could take offense to that because, buddy, we only signed a deal 6 months ago. So in the first 12 months, leave people alone. Also, those who were purchased in a rent roll in the last 12 months. If you've gone and purchased another property management business with those clients came over to you, don't touch them, leave them alone for at least the first 12 months. Let them settle in, let them gain trust, let them warm up to you, let them forget about their previous management company and let trust mature and let their peace of mind grow. Alrighty. Now, also, those clients who may be upset with you over an issue at the moment. Now, property management is a very dynamic business. All sorts of things can happen, and we all agree things can happen outside of your control. So, for example, a water heater, or in Australia, we call it the hot water service. You might have a hot water service go and it's going to cost the owner $1,500 to get it replaced with the plumber, but he's upset because, hang on, my last home I lived in, that hot water service lasted 25 years. What are those tenants doing? Are they destroying my property? And before you know it, he's begrudgingly allowing a new hot water service or a water heater to be replaced, but he's upset and he's begrudgingly done it. Now, is that your fault? No. But you just want to leave them alone if they're a little bit unsettled or destabilized, if their peace of mind has been destabilized. But yeah, look, you're juggling 500 balls at a time. You might drop one every now and then. That's just life. That's what happens in property management. It's such a difficult job. And so you might have created a little bit of negligence that you've had to fix or something, or maybe you gave them a bad tenant. Maybe just a bad tenant slipped through. You know, you can be the best tenant selection expert in the world, and every now and then one is still going to get through, and that owner may be upset. So if you've got a client that may be upset with you about an issue at the moment, just leave it alone and let their peace of mind creep back in. Also, those tenants, if you know of any of your properties, when your letters are ready to go, if you've got any tenants you know may be leaving, definitely are leaving, and they're in the process of it. They've given notice, but they're in the process of moving out, or they have left. Your owner has gone from peace of mind back into stress, back into anxiety, thinking, how the hell am I going to pay my mortgage? Do not increase your fees under those circumstances. Again, you only increase your fees with those owners that have peace of mind. All right. This is not a location thing that it works in one city, it's about the peace of mind that you have with your clients. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about secret number 2. And 10 different fees that are easy to charge. And of course, the ones you need to be careful with. So here is a problem that we see with many property management agencies. Well, firstly, they believe that the management fee should cover the bulk of the fee income for the business. Now, particularly in Australia, the more you go east, the more we see the management fee is all knowing important. So, for example, in Brisbane, they have a management fee and they have a lack of other fees, or Queensland very typically has a lack of other fees. And if you say, hey, you know, Mr. Queensland property manager, you could be charging for an ingoing, an outgoing, a routine inspection, your market, and they'll go, well, what's the management fee for? Whereas you go to the West Corner, you go to Perth, Western Australia, and you go, well, you know, well, they charge a management fee, leasing fee, lease renewal fee, ingoing, outgoing, routine inspection, monthly admin fee, blah, 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 blah. I can imagine putting them into the ring and saying, okay, let's have a battle. What's the management fee for? Oh, no, the management fee should cover this, blah, blah, blah. No, it shouldn't. We shouldn't be doing those things for free. And so there's so many agencies that believe the management fee for some reason should cover most, if not, we've actually seen all of their services. Now, the all-inclusive management fee is a good thing, but you need to make sure your percentages are right. But the concept of adding on other fees clashes with their belief, their value system of the purpose of the management fee in the first place. And they've only added maybe a couple of other fees. And they believe maybe the tenant fees in the United States, of course, you can legally charge tenant fees there. There's a lot of agencies that they're earning more from the tenants because they're too scared to charge the owners anymore. But I'm here to tell you people, it's just a mindset. You're leaving too much money on the table. So as a result, other discounters in the area, they keep on placing pressure on that management fee with their discounting. And then if most of your fee income is wrapped up in your management fee, that's placing a lot more pressure on you. And you end up discounting your management fee and also a large chunk of your operating revenue. Your ongoing fee revenue takes a bigger hit. Your ability to produce a healthy profit margin, that diminishes. Your ability to pay staff properly and pay for quality resources and quality training, well, that's placed under pressure. You're unable to attract quality staff because they are not going to agree to discount wages. They want a better salary. If you want quality staff, you have to pay well. Your income spirals down, your expenses spiral up, and it puts a massive financial pressure on the business. Let's look at this some more. And I've written 11 laws regarding profit, fee, success laws. One of them I'm going to teach you today called the law of the main game. Very simply, two owners are at a barbecue, two property owners, and they get on the topic of property investment. They get onto the topic of property management. And one guy says, oh, well, who's managing your property? And he says, well, I'm with XYZ Realty. Oh, really? I'm with ABC Real Estate down the road. Fancy that. What are you getting charged for? I'm getting charged 8%. Oh my goodness, I'm getting charged 9%. But the thing is that they didn't talk about any other fees, did they? You see, in their minds, the management fee was the big deal. The management fee was their main focus. You know, and they probably were getting charged other fees, but guess what? They probably didn't remember what they were, or they overlooked them, or they didn't consider it of any real importance to enter into that conversation. You see, it's the add-on fees, people, where the actual, the revenue is, where the profit margin is, where you're going to find your extra $500 per year per door. So here is a list of typical fees that you can be doing. I'm not going to go through them all. You can see them all there, and you'll get the recording as well, so you'll be able to list those if you want. Now, I guess the last one there, onboarding fee, that's where you've got an inherited tenant. There's a lot of work when you've got an inherited tenant to bring them on board. You should be charging that. Repairs and maintenance fee, oh my goodness, typically in Australia, when I say to agents, you could be charging a repairs and maintenance fee, they're all ready to hang me. But the agents that I know that are charging a repairs and maintenance fee when all their competitors aren't, they've never, ever had a problem with that. So these are all fees that can be charged very, very easily. Now, of course, for our USA people in the room today, and so sad, too bad to our Australians, I should say, and our New Zealanders, our respective governments have deemed the tenant to be a protected species, and therefore we are unable to legally charge a tenant in any way, shape or form, any tenant fees. So we can only look on and see our friends in the United States with the typical tenant fees that they can be charging. Now, of course, states like California, Oregon, places like that do have more restriction around fees than other places. But these are typically the tenant fees that we see. There is a lot more. In fact, I've got a list of about 100 different owner and tenant fees that can be charged in the United States. But these are typically what can be done and added on. And so when I'm working with business in the United States, we might look at several fees for owners, but also several fees for tenants as well, and make it really, really worthwhile. But let's have a look at this. This is another law that I wrote of the 11 laws. This is called the law of the better fee. Now, firstly, people, I've got some bad news. And this is the bad news. Your fees that you are charging right now, and they're so varied in the room, and of course, we're not here to discuss, we cannot collude or anything like that, but your fees are a result of what you believe you can charge. And you can't get any better. You know why? Because your mindset disallows it. you've got a fee lid. Now, if we're going to increase that, your mindset, increase your lid up of what you believe is possible, then we're able to get better fees. You see, when you know you're worth it, and knowing means you believe. Now, believe has been misconstrued in the Western society because we think believe is like wishful thinking. No, you know that you know that you know. You have this strong conviction, I know I am worth more. When you have that, and then you know how to justify that fee, then you get it. You see, that's how we bridge your current place. That to increase your current fees, we have to change your mindset and the way that you think. Now, Sean and Kristen Johnson from New Mexico came to me. In fact, we did interview them on our PM Growth Experts Show podcast. You can subscribe to that on Spotify, on Podbean or iTunes podcast, the PM Growth Expert Show. But Sean and Kristen, they came to me and they had a problem. And this was it. They're in a small town in the northern part of New Mexico, just south of the Colorado border. And they said, Darren, we're in a town of 50,000 people. There's about 6 agents in town that do property management, and we all only charge a management fee of X%. Everyone was charging only a management fee. Everyone was charging the same management fee, and no one in the whole town was charging any other fees. But Sean and Kristen said, Darren, we're so much better than everybody else, but I can't stand the fact that we're charging the same. So what we did working with them is that we didn't change the management fee because the law of the main game is the owners focus on that. What we did the work and the other stuff. So we added a leasing fee, we added an inspection fee, we added a lease renewal fee, we added a monthly statement fee, and we also added some tenant fees as well. And honestly, I think we did add an inspection fee. All right, down the bottom there, and as you can actually see, they've started with us. Now, the reason why I've got these figures here is because I worked with them over a 2-year period. So I was able to record and measure what those results were, and they're happy for me to share this. But over a 2-year period of my working with them, we took them, over 3 years, they went up to from $125 per door per month over to $250. They actually were able to increase it. In fact, he told me, Darren, we took it to 266 at one stage. That was a 112% increase. But all up, on average, they found an extra $1,500 per year per door. And over 450 properties, that's $675,000. Now, Sean and Kristen have now been popular on other podcast shows with property management in the United States around the profitability and getting more fees. And you speak to Sean now, he's really not interested in growing big. He's only interested in growing big in his fee income per property. You see, they had a profitability mind shift. Let's have a look.
When we first started working with Darren, we were the typical management company. We charged what the guy down the street charged, and we didn't. There was no differentiation, if you will, in fees. We competed on other fronts, so we knew that there was probably a lot that we were leaving on the table. Just because we provided far superior service, but we continued to charge what everybody else in town was charging.
Okay. And when the suggestion was made that you could be getting better fees, certainly more ancillary fees, and that suggestion was made, we had a conversation, I would have done a fee analysis and run those numbers. After that conversation, how were you feeling when you were confronted with what you could be doing?
Like, holy crap, we were leaving a lot on the table. It was kind of shocking, to not really grasp what else was out there, and there's a lot of fees that are warranted by service that we weren't even encapsulating into our business. So,
and perhaps, did you have any reservations?
Sure, yeah, you always have reservations. I think when you are in a marketplace that people are price sensitive, and in most cases, and but I think at the end of the day, we come to the conclusion that service trumps price, and if you're giving good service, that you truly are adding value more than a cost. to them. So that, yeah, that there was reservations. I won't lie about that for sure. There definitely was, but we definitely got over that with being able to add value to our clients, and that's what we ultimately want anyway. So.
Cool. Alrighty, so let's talk about the law of the better fee. It is more, when it comes to your management fee, it's more the market forces than your mindset that determines what that fee is going to be. So let's just say you're in a marketplace and typically rack rate management fee accepted is 8 to 10%, but let's say you come in with 30% management fee. Well, market forces are probably going to snap you into line pretty quickly. You're probably unlikely to get too much business, and you are going to be reducing that management fee because market forces have dictated that to you. So it's more the market than your mindset that determines what your management fee is going to be. But with the other stuff, it's more your mindset than the market that determines the add-on fees. You see, Sean and Kristen, they added all this other stuff and it didn't make any difference to their sign-up rate. So where every other agent in town was only charging a management fee, nothing else, they came on with all these add-ons and they're still the #1 agent in town. It did not, in fact, it sped up their growth because they're such quality agents. But owners tend to place more importance and focus on the percentage of your management fee compared to the size or list of the other add-ons. You can have a lot of add-ons and your competitors have hardly any add-ons. And if your management fee is generally competitive, then if they like you, they're likely going to sign up. Okay. Alrighty. Now, so your add-on fees is where your success lies. You see, your bank, oh my goodness me, your bank knows this so well. You see, when it comes to your credit cards, you might know what your interest rate is. And I bet some of you going, goodness, I don't even know what interest rate is, but I know they're charging me, through the nose. But you might know what your interest rate is, but you know what those other fees are? Oh my goodness me. I remember looking at my statement thinking, they just charge me that because of this additional card holder fee or, small have a nice day fee or whatever I see on my statement. Well, banks know that your focus is on the interest percentage. It's like your home loan. Your focus is on the interest percentage and you probably don't know or care about all those other little piddly things that happen on your statement there. It's not your focus. You see, Andrew came to me and based in here, actually in the city where I live, he said, Darren, I really believe we need to be increasing our fees. We came in, we did a lot of work around the add-ons. We didn't do too much work around the management fee. And after we finished working with them after a couple of years, they had successfully increased. As he said here, we increased our fee income 33% per property, a third extra fee income per property. Not only do we now have a better bottom line, but culturally a better department. We have now better owners, better quality properties, and also happier property managers. These guys also had a profitability mind shift. They went from growth focus to growth in fee focus, okay? And understanding it gave them better quality owners because there were some cheap fee owners that decided no longer to be with them anymore. We'll talk about that coming up. All right, now, let's have a look and see what happened with Rachel.
Now, there were fees that we rolled out that, quite frankly, I've never seen charged before in New South Wales, particularly your lease renewal fees is at a very high level. Plus with the other fees as well that we rolled out. And I believe we did routine inspections, correct?
Yes, yeah. So since we've done our training, I've now implemented it on new managements as well.
Yes.
And have had little to no question about it at all.
So with Rachel, she actually, when we increased her fees, I've never seen it before. She had the highest lease renewal fee, and I'm not going to say what it is, but the highest lease renewal fee I've ever seen done in New South Wales. Plus, she also started charging routine inspections. Now, typically in Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland, sometimes in New Zealand, and I had the arm wrestle in the United States, even mentioning a routine inspection fee, particularly eastern states of Australia, people are ready to hang me because they all think somehow that the routine inspection fee should be covered as part of the management fee. But there's no rule book, there's no law, there's no legislation that says that has to be so. It's people's mindsets that have dictated that, and the agents that have successfully now said, all right, I believe I should be charging a routine inspection fee are successfully doing it. You just need to have good scripts and dialogue that when the owner says, well, hang on, why are you charging me a routine inspection fee when the other agents aren't charging me at all? You just got to have a really good response to that. And of course we do. All right, moving on. So let's have a look at some fee analysis here, and let's check out some strategies. So this is typically what we would see in Australia or New Zealand. And for our wonderful Americans on board, somehow, somewhere in Australia, many, many years ago, we decided to charge our rent weekly, or what we call fortnightly. The word fortnightly is a British word. It's not just a video game, but fortnightly means every 2 weeks. So we see weekly or 2 weekly rents. My goodness me. There is even legislation in Australia that says in some places you can't charge a monthly rent. So anyway, this is what we got. Let's just say we got 400 doors or properties. The average rent's $400 a week. The management fee we're charging is 6%. Maybe it's a little bit lower in the market than what it should be. The leasing fee is 1 week's rent. Marketing fee is $99. The lease renewal fee is nil. And your monthly administration or technology fee, whatever you want to call it, it's $5. And you're not charging a routine inspection. Let's say you're doing lettings or you're doing leasings of 16 a month. Your lease renewals, you're doing 15 a month. Your routine inspections are done twice a year, and your monthly administration fee is charged per property or per door. But in the area though, other agents are successfully doing 7%. So now these figures are not taking into account that if we've got owners say on 5% increasing those, or they're not on full leasing fees increasing those. So we're not talking about that extra fee income we could be gaining there. But let's just say we do tweak the management fee. Now I usually go, if people are already at rack rate, we don't touch the management fee we talked about before. But if the management fee is a lot lower than what we could be doing in the market, then I could tweak it. Let's say we tweak it by 1% increase. In this case, that's on average $4 a week times by 52 weeks a year times by, let's say we got it across the line, not with 400 doors, but 350 doors. Let's be conservative here. Well, do your math, that's $72,800. And of course, if you do that, you'll also directly impact the value of your business as well. All right, now also increasing your marketing fee, you take it to $199. So in all, we're actually increasing it by $100 overall, and we're doing 192 leasings a year. So we're charging a marketing fee because it's our costs to help lease and find a quality tenant. That's an extra $19,200. Also, adding a lease renewal fee of 50% of a week's rent. Now, if our leasing fee typically is at 1 week's rent, we might do 50% in this particular case. And this is conservative. And in this case, that's $200, because the weekly rent's $400, times by 180 lease renewals a year. Well, that's $36,000. Increasing a monthly administration, or you might call it a monthly technology fee, or whatever you want to call it, fee, to $10 a month. That's an extra $5 a month increase over 12 months by 400 properties. That's an extra $24,000. If you add a routine inspection, let's say you're doing those twice a year, of $90, that's $68,400. That's a total of $220,400. Divide by 400, that's an extra $551 per year per door. Now, typically in our first year of doing this, there are some owners that we can't increase fees with. We went through that in our 5 types. So we may not be able to get this type of result in the first year, but certainly in the second year, third year and beyond. Now, let's have a look at more of a USA example. Let's say it's 500 doors. The average rent is $1,100 a month. That's pretty average in America. Management fee is 10%. Leasing fee is half a month's rent. Lease renewal fee is $250. You got it fixed, and you got a monthly technology fee of $10. You're doing 20 lettings or leasings a month. Lease renewal fees are $15 a month. Routine inspections, you're doing them twice a year. Way to go. We got some agents only doing them 1 a year. But in this case, we are not going to touch a management fee. So let's have a look at now. Increasing a leasing fee, we're taking it actually to 75%. Because we can. We've looked at the market, we've had a look and talked to some competitors, and there is room that we can possibly take this up to 75%, or maybe we could do it because we're going to be putting some new leasing technology in place. It's really going to impress, because as we know, owners really care about the best rent, the best tenant in the quickest possible time. So in this case here, we are increasing the leasing fee, an average of $275 times by 240 leasings a year. That's $66,000. Now, increasing the lease renewal fee, we're doing that to half a month's rent. And that's typically what we would do. That's $300 times by 180 lease renewals a year. That is $54,000. Adding a routine inspection fee of $150 each, which is really easy. You think $150, well, how much do you think your an hour is worth, because drive time, booking time, do the inspection, do the work that's resulting because simply you showed yourself up the property. Now you've got other things that you need to do, tasks that need to be done, plus getting the report ready, sending it to the owner. It's about an hour. What are you worth per hour, people? Well, when you're managing tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of other people's assets, your hourly rate shouldn't be that of the plumber, the electrician, the handyman, or even worse, the lawnmower man, people. Let's get serious here. Let's say you're getting 150 bucks times by 2 a year, times by 450 doors, $135,000. Adding a monthly technology fee of 10 bucks. So that's $10 times by 12 times by 480. That's $57,600. That's a total of over $300,000 a year, and that's $625 per door per year. All righty, some good money there. All right, moving on. So it's not hard to find an extra $500 a year per property or per door. So you might, for example, your routine inspections, they might go, and you might charge anywhere between $99 to $199. Of course, we're not able to collude here, people, and I don't want any chat surrounding what fees we should be charging. That might be once a year or twice a year or 3 times a year or 4 times a year, depending on what part of the planet you're on. Lease renewal fees. You can be charging up to 50% or 75% of your leasing fee. So on the East Coast of America, typically we see leasing fees up to 1 month or 100% of the first month's rent. So if that's the case, you should be able to do 50% or 75% of your leasing fee for a lease renewal fee. That's typically what we do. Now, for years and years and years, I just did 50%, but now realizing we could tweak that up to 75%. And Rachel, she did 100% of the leasing fee was also the same as her lease renewal fee. As I said, I've never seen that before done in New South Wales. Well done, Rachel. All right, monthly administration technology fee. You can take that from $5 to $15 a door per month. Now, technically, if someone's charging $5 a month, well, we take it to 10. If they're at 10, we take it to 15. We take it to 15, we take it to 20. We've done that. That's typically the steps that we do with a monthly admin. Your marketing fee, an extra $100 per leasing is not hard to do, particularly when realestate.com.au keep on putting up their rates, or domain.com.au, or realestate.co.nz charges for it, or of course trademe.co.nz in New Zealand, or of course all the many different portals you've got in America there. They're likely not free. It costs you money. You should be able to come up with a good script, a good response, justify and charge accordingly. So we've shown you how easy it is to find an extra $500 per door per year. So that means, again, if you've got 100 doors, that's an extra 50 grand a year. If you've got 200, that's an extra 100,000. If you've got 500 doors, there's 250,000. You've got 1,000 doors. That's an extra $500,000. And I'm sure a lot of you now see how that's possible. Get out your calculator now. Put in how many doors you've got, times that by 500. Do it now. Work it out. And you know that is what's possible for you with the right fee maximization, the right process. So my question is, do you believe right now that you can be making another $500 per year per door? Or you've got a big butt. Everyone's got a big butt. Does your big butt still get in the way? Is there something still in your head says, but Darren, you can't do that here because of. And what's your because of? What's that little monkey chatter saying in your head right now? Let's talk about that, because we're not finished yet, because your big butt is what stops this happening in its tracks. Your big butt can cost you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And over a 5 or 10 year period, I've seen many businesses, their big butt cost them millions of dollars they leave on the table because their mindset gets in the way and stops the whole process from happening. Let's move on. So let's talk about secret number 3. What business are you likely to lose? So what's the problem? Most business owners never increase fees because of what they perceive or what they think is going to happen. Though they've never done it before, they actually think, well, it's not going to work, and they already have predetermined what's going to occur. And so what we do is we call them the big butts. And though they've never increased fees before, they've already again decided it's not going to work. Their mindset has stopped it dead in its tracks from actually happening. Their mindset is based on their belief, and their big butts just get in the way. Now let's talk about big butt number 1. Our owners But Darren, our owners will go to the cheap agent down the road. I had it, and this is an interesting phone call I had from a guy called Rob. Rob Edwards runs a property management business in Perth, and he called me up and he said, Darren, had you called me 6 months ago and you said to me, hey, you can successfully add and increase fees with my current clients, I would have said, you got rocks in your head, Darren. There's too many discounters down the road. If I increased my fees with my current clients, they would leave to go to the cheaper agent. That stuff just won't work, can't work, won't work here. But he said, here's the deal. Here's what's happened, Darren. I've looked at, and I'm purchasing another business down the road now. And this is true story. And he said, I'm purchasing Robin's business, and it's the same type rents, the same type clients. It's the same area, same type tenants, same. But there's one big difference. Her fee income is double per property than what I'm getting. And I thought, what the hell is going on? This is apples against apples. So I asked, and he said, oh, well, Darren came in a couple of years ago and did fee maximization with us, and that's why we're getting so much more. And he said, Darren, you see, now I believe this can be done. But had you called me 6 months ago, I would have said, you got rocks in your head. But I realize now it's my mindset. Darren, can you come now and increase fees with my current business? And we did that very, very successfully with him. And of course, he went on to buy Genesis Asset Management, and Robin is now retired from property management. So great story there. Let's have a look at big but number 2. But Darren, my owners are just too tight with money. They only care about cheap fees, or they've been with us a very, very long time. Well, here's a couple of stories here. So these are a couple of businesses I dealt with in Melbourne of Victoria, and also in Perth of Western Australia. And these particular businesses have been around probably 50 years. And they were established by people that had moved out from Europe after post-World War II. They came from European countries. They settled in Melbourne and Perth, and they started a real estate agency. And of course, with their ethnic background, they attracted a lot of people that also have the same ethnic background, and they became, loyal clients of 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And let's face it, people like to deal with who they're familiar with. And so they had a well-established rent roll based on that. And when we said, hey, look, you can get better, increased fees, but Darren, our clients have been with us for a very, very long time, or these people are really, really well known to be tight with their money. Well, I'm glad that they didn't listen to their big but, because these businesses, we went on very, very successfully to increase their fees. In fact, the one in Perth, we increased their fees an extra, all up. When we finished, after a couple of years of me working with them, we successfully increased their total fee income an extra whopping 35% per property across the board. And it's one of our biggest returns that we've seen here in Australia. All right, now let's talk about big but number 3. But Darren, but we're already too expensive in the market. So it leads me to a story with a guy in Sydney that said, Darren, our management fee, we already have the most expensive management fee here in Sydney. And I looked at it, yeah, he was at the tippy top, but he didn't have any other fees. So we increased substantially his lease renewal fee. We increased his monthly admin and a couple of other fees. And that was very, very successful. In fact, in 1 month, we found an extra $40,000 income just in 1 month. That was one of our record months with them. Now, on the left, on the right here, that's Adelaide, where the most expensive agent in the marketplace came to us. And we just did a fee maximization, and he went from expensive to expensive, and it was very, very successful. So don't let that mindset, you thinking you're already too expensive, get in the way. There's always room that we could be doing to find more. Okay. Also, number 4, but Darren, but we have to increase our service levels or do a survey first. We don't know how our owners are going to react. Well, this is really, really easy. And I had this objection here from a company, and after we did the fee increase very, very successfully, he said, Darren, I just couldn't believe it right from the start. We literally could go and punch our clients in the face. Now, we're not going to go and do that, but he said we could literally punch our clients in the face to make them leave. They were already so rock solid here. And here is my response. If you feel that you need to increase your service levels first or do a survey, here is my response. How many owners in the last 6 months have you lost because of negligence? Because they left because of bad service? And if you're going to say, well, one or nothing, you're ready. You're in a normal place. You see, your owners don't have to be brilliantly super happy for this to work. As long as they don't hate you, this is what I've learned. As long as they don't hate you and they're teetering on the edge and then we go increase their fees, that's danger. But as long as they're in a reasonably happy place, reasonable is the emphasis here, not brilliant, not great, just reasonable or better, it's fine. Long as they are settled and it's a peace of mind. All right, now, big but number 5, but Darren, I couldn't increase the fees. I know, Darren, it will work. I'm a business owner, but my property manager will never allow it. Oh my goodness me. They're so old school, Darren. They've been in the game for 30 years. They just will not allow it. They don't believe it's possible. And I had that. Now I was working with an agency in Oregon. Oh my goodness me. And the business owner was great. He was really gung ho, Darren, we're going to make this happen. And we created our fee analysis and we stepped into an agreement together to do the work together. But there's my but. We had a big problem with their property manager who was based in another city. In fact, they were based in Phoenix, and she just refused to accept that it would work. And in the end, I had to walk away. And, you know, my point is this: if that property manager had made a mistake and that cost the owner $100,000, and let's say she made that mistake every year and it cost the owner $100,000, what would that owner do? Well, he probably would have sacked her. But no, he didn't. He just said, oh, well, you know, if she's not going to come on board, not much we can do. There was no conviction. There was no action. Oh, my goodness me. You know, and he was losing $100,000 a year because he allowed that property manager to allow their mindset to reign. Now, here is another one that I had with Kevin, and this is probably a really difficult one where the staff just were refusing to come on board. But and they were just adamant, this is not going to work. But let's just see what happened.
Okay, so when your staff were presented that you're going to be adding and increasing some fees, what was their reaction to it? And perhaps when the training occurred, what was their reaction?
Well, I guess initially, because it's what the old man wanted to do, they were probably giving their assent to it. But when we got into the nitty-gritties of how much we were going to increase our fees, and also we were introducing a whole brand new fee, and that was to do routine inspections, I got a lot of pushback from my staff. They assured me it could not be done. They assured me that we were going to lose a lot of our clients, and they were quite frightened of doing it. But we went ahead anyway. We did the training, and we did what the trainer told us to do. We wrote the letters, we used the scripts and dialogues, and to their surprise, we had hardly any pushback at all.
So again, don't let the mindset of your staff get in the way. This is very much a mindset game. Let's have a look at big but number 6. But Darren, we're just not ready yet. Look, we believe it can be done. My goodness me, we're excited, but we're not ready yet. The shelf is such a bad thing. Oh my goodness. I reckon a shelf, you put stuff on the shelf, it's got this cooling mechanism that takes away any motivation that you've got to act. Now, let me tell you a story. So I was working with a business somewhere in Australia, and we determined through our fee analysis that we did, we could find them an extra $350,000 a year. I mean, that's a lot of money. And the boss said, Darren, that's great. I believe you can do it, but we're just not ready yet. We're going to leave it for 4 or 5 months. I said, no, you don't understand. If you don't act now, the conditions are right. All your ducks are in a row. We need to take this opportunity. Darren, I'm sorry, we can't. You know what they did? They actually decided that their department manager that held the whole rent roll together, that all the property managers respected. They felt they were paying her too much, and they got rid of her so they could save money. Well, guess what happened? The property managers are upset. They got upset. The service levels dropped. Service levels dropped. Clients weren't happy anymore. So even if they did come back to me, which they didn't 6 months later, they wouldn't be ready because now we've lost our peace of mind with the owners. Now we've been destabilized. We can't do it. So you got to understand though, if things are ready, do it. But I know from when people say, oh, but Darren, we're not ready yet, we'll do it. It never happens. I can promise you now, it never happens. Or something happens which destabilizes things. And before you know it, this is just a memory. And that number 6 alone can cost you $50, $100, $150,000, $300,000 a year. That's a lot of money to lose. So How much business do you really lose? Well, the more bad business that you've taken on board, the more crappy owners that you've taken on board, the more crappy owners that you're going to lose. You see, not all owners treasure and value their peace of mind, but most do. And as long as most do, it works. You see, I've traveled through the developed countries, Australia, New Zealand, the United States, trying to find a place where this just doesn't work. I did this successfully in Florida in 2009 when the real estate was completely down the toilet with our financial crash, and it worked very successfully in a rent roll there in West Palm Beach. You see, it's about the owner's peace of mind that we approach them. And so there are some owners that don't, they value the money. And so we find that when we do have losses, which we do, 80% of those losses are always crappy owners that got a crappy income. It's all crap. And these are typically the 80%. They take up 80% of your stress. They drain 80% of your time. They burn out your staff. And that also, at the same time as doing that, they contribute least to your revenue. Now, Luke Edinger, it's interesting. Luke has done now maximizing fees and profit. He's done a podcast in the States. He's now well known, a bit like Sean is now well known for his teaching on profitability and stuff. But they learned that with us. That's the awesome thing about it. And Luke Edinger's journey on profitability started working with us. Let's have a look.
We followed your plan and we laid it out exactly like you explained in your example material and everything else, and had the whole team prepared with the follow-up questions when people would reach out to us. And I would say 70 to 80% of clients, it just went through. They understood that the environment is different now, and we haven't taken up fees in a long time. About 20% of people will push back on a fee or two, but overall, it was a very, very successful program. We only lost one owner that had a 3-unit building across the whole portfolio that we made the change for. And we saw fees go up. I know we can't talk how I changed the fees overall, but in this change, we saw fees go up 30 to 35%, which was much, much more than we expected, and much lower attrition of clients than we expected.
You see, Luke's situation, he had a lot of quality owners, so he didn't have too much crap, so he didn't lose too much there. But we have seen other businesses that have taken a lot of crap, and we have lost a bit there. But there's other things that we need to understand. So firstly, with C-class owners or C-class business, who are they and what typifies them? Here is their characteristics. Now, number one, they're very unreasonable and over-demanding. And I bet as I go through this list, you're going to come up with names in your mind. They're going to pop into your head. They take up loads of your time. They have these stupid, frivolous little requests. They want above market rents. They want a discount on your fees. No matter what you charge, they just want less. They can't sleep at night unless they've got less from you. They put little to no money into their property, and the property just attracts low quality tenants. And they likely also, at the same time, in most cases, have a low rent property too. It's just bad all round. Now, we also did a time and motion study on a typical property and a C-class owner property as well. Now, typically in a normal property, if we have a tenant moving in and moving out in the same year with all the work, showing the property, lease signing up, lease renewals, all those sorts of things, the move-in inspection, the move-out inspection, typically it's about 20 hours of work. But then add a C-class property to that, I promise you, in this time and motion study, every time it's an extra 20 to 40 hours on top of what's normal. You see, what about all the time in chasing the late rent? What about the extra work involved of re-inspecting the property? What about all that tangled mess at the end of the final inspection? It just adds absolutely to your workload. And with a normal property at 20 hours, you're probably earning around about $70 to $80 an hour for that management. But with a C-class property, if it's like double or even triple put into a less income that you're getting because it's a low rent property, they're probably screwed you down in the fees, you're probably earning $25 an hour. I bet your cleaner charges more than $25 an hour. You'd be losing because your cost to manage is likely around $65 an hour. You're bleeding possibly $40, maybe $50 for every hour that you give to these people. And you think, well, it's business. It's not. It's bad business. You see, so when we lose any C-class landlords, it's not a loss. It's a victory. You see, we can't value that type of business. Most business lost is C-class quality. And your income loss, therefore, is so much less because they were so small income generating in the first place. So for example, let's say you lost 5% of properties. Let's say that you did. And if 80% of that loss is bad business, then it's not going to be 5% slab of your income. It's probably going to be 3% because they were paying a lot less anyway. And if your overall gain, you gain 20%, say, increase in fee income over, well, that's a 70% growth in your income. So you could quickly gain any losses. This is why this is successful. This is why I'm happy to come and give you this stuff, because if I felt I was putting your business at risk, I wouldn't be teaching this stuff. Your fee income gains quickly recover any losses. All right, let's move on so far. And these are the 3 secrets that we've revealed so far. Secret number 1, the 5 client types you should never increase your fees with. Secret number 2, the 10 different fees that are easy to charge and the ones that you also need to be careful with. And secret number 3, how much business that you're likely to lose. But all of this sounds really interesting, but if it really means nothing, it really means nothing unless it's going to work for you. So let me ask you a question. What's what I've just shown you today? What's it worth to your business? You see, once we've fee maximized your current clients, the great thing is, if you're stable now and you become destabilized later because a property manager leaves or whatever, it doesn't undo. Once it's done, it's done. Your results don't go backwards. But also understand with this process here, you can't go and increase your fees with the owners every 6 months. You can only do it, say, at best, probably every 2 years. So if you're going to only be able to do this every 2 years and put your hand out and say, look, Mr. Owner, because of X, Y, Z, our expenses have gone up, legislative compliance has gone up, we've got to do this, we've got to charge more, you're really going to be able to only do it every 2 years. So if you can only do it every 2 years, you've got to make it worthwhile. I've seen people go and increase their monthly fee by $2 a month. And they come back, Darren, we're successful. I go, whoopee-doo. Because you can only wait for another 2 years. There was just no success in that. You can be doing so much more. Make it worthwhile. So what if you only got an extra $3,000 or an extra $5,000 a month from doing this with your total fee income? Would an extra $36,000 a year work for you? Or an extra 60 grand, or an extra 100 grand? I mean, what would you do with that per year? Remember, this is pure profit, because it's not costing you anything more. You see, with rent roll growth, in the end, you take on another 100 properties, that's going to cost you 80% of your fee income to service it. You got to put on a new property manager, a new car, or new expenses, internet, whatever. It's going to take up 80% of your fee income to actually manage and service it. But not this. This is going straight to your bottom line. It's not costing you anything more. It's pure profit. So what would it do? Would it get you better staff? Would you be able to pay your staff better? Would it be able to get you more resources? Can you get some coaching and training now? Well, you fill in the blank. You work that out. You know, one business I worked with the extra dollars they got, they went and employed themselves a department head, someone to manage the whole department. Another one, commonly we see, people now go and employ a business development manager, now grow the business. And so they can grow as well as get extra income per property. You know, so what will it cost you from this point if you choose to do nothing? What if you, even worse, what if you shelve the idea? Let's have a look at some other results. So in Sydney, we took $172 per door per month to $186 per door per month. And we did that over about a year. Now, these are results. This is where I work with offices and I've been able to track the results. And this is the first year of results. You see, it's usually the second or third that we're really able to get a lot of gains. So in the first year, because there's some owners that we can't charge fees with, sometimes it's less. But in this case here, this office had 1,000 doors. And we found them an extra $168,000 in that first year. In Perth, we found them over 300 doors, an extra $152,000 extra per year. In Melbourne, we found them an extra $72,540 per year. Now, in this particular case, in our first year, we only achieved $145 extra, but still it's better than nothing. In this particular case, New Mexico, we found them an extra $75,000 extra per year without having to put on more properties. In Adelaide, an extra $310,000 per year. In Perth, an extra $190,000. So if you were given the expertise and the ability and the tools and the forms and the letters and all that stuff to achieve those sort of numbers, What would you be willing to pay someone? So if you're going to earn if you're going to earn $190,000 a year, or whatever your calculator told you when you went 100 times by $500 or $150 times by 5, I don't know what numbers you got on your calculator, but would you be willing to pay someone $5,000 or even $10,000? And I bet if we could earn you an extra $675,000, you probably would be willing to pay $50,000 if you got that sort of a result. Of course you would. It's a silly question. So I want to introduce you to the PM fee machine. And this is all of my knowledge about how to increase fees successfully with current and new owners. Now, the goal of the PM fee machine is to help you add an extra $500 per month. That is our goal. That's what we want to help you find with your property management business. And over the last 20 years, we've trained over 14,000 property managers, department heads, business owners, and BDMs with this training here. And in the last 15 years, our teaching has been responsible for new fees being rolled out, with hundreds of thousands of property owners have had their fees put up. And we've done that through hundreds of property management companies over Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. So with the PM fee machine online training course, here's what you get. Now, firstly, the PM fee machine online is 6 parts. And altogether, it's 10 hours of my entire knowledge put into video training with downloadable notes, your fee increase letters, your tools, your checklists, everything that you're going to need. Now, the actual sections are section number one, getting better fees with current clients. That's the main thing that everybody wants to know. But also I've got a whole section, different teaching on how to get better fees immediately with your new clients as well. It's no good doing current clients if we're not getting fees at the new business end as well, or better fees there. I'm also going to give you access to our full fees and scripts library, just about every fee objection you can think of, every individual fee objection you can think of, anything that comes your way, we've got it covered with scripts to help you with a proper and right response. We've also got a whole section on avoiding bad business and C-class owners. It's all about, now let's do profitable quality property management. We've got a whole section just on that. I've got a whole section just on all my fee laws, the 11 fee laws, success laws that we've talked about, and success principles. Also, I've got a whole section just on amazing points of difference and influence that now you don't have to compete on fees. You can now compete on service and value. We're going to show you 10 very powerful ways to blow your cheaper competitors out of the water. And now you can compete on service and value and get likely the best fees in the marketplace. You can have access to all of that. So let's have a look at the step-by-step resources and tools. And this is a snapshot, a screenshot from the actual system here. Now you can see here, for example, what fees to increase and what strategy to do there. What tools to send. And we've got a whole section just on that. And you can download your letters, your checklist, your tools from there. We've got a whole section on just categorizing your owners, because it's not just knowing which owners not to increase fees with, but also the ones to increase fees with 1 or 2 properties, or they multi-property owners as well. We've got all about categorizing there. Also dealing with objections. When the letters go out, the emails go out, when the phone rings, what are you going to say? We've got all different types of responses here to help you with that, with all the different types of responses that you can expect. So you can now move ahead with confidence. Now, this is a snapshot. So we clicked on the tools and what to send. As you can see here, this is a video. This particular one here, we'll go through 20 minutes of explaining what tools to send. And then you click on materials here. And then these are all the materials. You click on that, you download that PDF. You click on the FEMAX notification landlord letter, that's now in a Word doc. So you've got all your tools there to be able to help you. Also a spreadsheet to be able to put your clients on as well. Now, we're normally charged for me to come in, and normally, if you just wanted me to come in and train this only, well, I would be normally charging you $6,600 plus travel expenses for me to coach it and train it. Because why? Well, if you're going to earn 50 grand, 100 grand, or whatever, it's worth it. All right. And of course, you'll happily pay $6,000 day in, day out if it's going to get you that type of result. Now, also with new business and increasing fees with new business, we also talk about, for example, creating an impressive listing kit, getting a better fee mindset. My goodness me, you can't increase your fees if your staff aren't on board with it. We've got whole mindset sections in the video training that they can sit down that's going to be able to help adjust their fee mindset. If we don't get a better fee mindset with your staff, that could stop you dead in its tracks. So let's have a look at a summary of what you're going to get. So increasing fees on new and current owners, that is worth technically $6,600. So the total value there is $6,600. Let's move on. Let's see what else we're going to give you as well. So this is the fee library. These are all the scripts. So for example, how to charge successfully the all-inclusive management fee. Now with me, I charged successfully 16.5%. All-inclusive management fee. I'll teach you how I did that there. Also, overcoming common fee objections like, well, if you can match your management fee with the other agent down the road, we'll go with you. Well, the other agent is cheaper, we'll go with you. We cover scripts to cover all of those big ones. Also, justifying individual fees. They say, well, why are you charging me a routine inspection fee when my competitors don't, or the other agents, they don't charge that fee? I'll give you a great response so you can respond with confidence and walk away with your fee. I've even got 9 scripts on how to overcome, but the other agent is cheaper, because such a common fee objection. As you can see here on the side, these are the, you just get videos here, but also you get the written script with those responses as well. Here is my training, a whole section, 10 minutes, just on the all-inclusive management fee. Plus I give you all the downloadable tools, fee package structure templates, all sorts of things to be able to help you if you also want to do an all-inclusive management fee, but a quality one. And these are all the individual fees and justification scripts that you get as well. Now, let's just go through the summary. So we give you the increased fees and new and current owners of those $6,600, and we add the fee scripts, library, and resources. That is easily worth over $2,000, particularly when it gets your fees over the line. So the total value so far is $8,800. Now, wait, of course, there's more. The 11 different laws on fees and fee success principles here. And we talked about the law of the main game. Well, that's in there. Also, the law of the alternate cost. That's going to help you get over just about every fee over the line once you understand that principle. And we also talked about the law of the better fee. There's a number of them, and also got a whole section on the different properties that you need to avoid to make sure that your rent roll is not going to become toxic. It's going to remain clean. It's going to remain quality as well. And this is the 10 points of difference. Now, there is one missing because we've only got 9 on the screen here, but these are very effective 10 points of difference and influence. And we just recorded this 2 weeks ago. So it's really fresh. It's really relevant. So this one here, how to get business using and impressing with fast leasing technology. Also using a pre-listing email to get in first position. So you're the favorite, and particularly if you're competing against other agents. So let's have a look at so far, the fee success, avoiding bad business, and also the points of difference and influence training. That again is easily worth, and we would sell that separately for over $2,000. So far, we're now offering you guys $11,000 worth of value. Now, also, I'm going to offer you a help and support line. So if you do run into a problem, I've got everything in my video training, but if you do run into a problem, I'm going to make myself available to you. And so with that, and that's available over 12 months. Now I charge, when it comes to fee maximization, anywhere up to $2,000 an hour for my time to train you on fee maximization. And I don't have a problem in charging $2,000 if you're earning 100,000. Okay. And I'm sure you would agree. So in this case here, my time over a year, it's hard to put a price on it, but let's say the helpline there is probably worth easy, maybe $1,100 or something like that. But the total value is $12,100. And you're probably wondering why, Darren, you're charging $600 and $200, and because this is, we've got to charge Australian GST. So that's 10%. All right. Now, here's the deal. I've shown you how to earn $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. And we could easily be charging $10,000, $15,000 or even $5,000 for this. We're only going to charge you $1,990 to access everything that I've shown to you so far. Or if you don't want to pay up front, you can pay $199 a month for 12 months. Let's move on now. You can go right now. Dennis, can you just drop the PM Fee Machine link into the chat there. Thank you very much. You've already done that. Well done.
Darren, I've got all three there, mate.
Yeah,
I have to scoot. I've got to get my daughter to horse riding.
All right,
So
mate. Take care. Thank you.
well done. Amazing session. So all three links are there. So well done, mate. That was awesome.
Thank you. So, all right. So now you may not want to join up now, but you can go anytime to our website. Just showing, if you just go to inspiredgrowthtraining.com and you go to fees, drop that down. The PM fee machine is there, but also the PM fee machine online training on a mobile device as well. All right. Now, you can go anytime to the website and you can get what I've shown you so far, but we're interested in getting some orders today. So I'm going to sweeten the deal. I'm going to ramp it up and I'm going to give you a bonus that you're only going to get today. So if we get your order today, you're also going to get, we're going to shop up to 5 of your competitors. You just tell us, give us the name and phone numbers, and we will fee check them. Now, this is not a full secret shopper service because we go into so much depth with that typical service, but here we're just going to be calling them up, getting their fees. Let's have a look and see what the market is charging up to 5 of your competitors. Now, we charge for a full secret shopper anywhere up to $5,000. In this case, this is actually going to be worth $1,100 with our specialist secret fee shopper who is just really, really good at doing it. Also, I'm going to give you 30 minutes of my time. We'll do a fee strategy call. Once we've got that fee information of your competitors, we're going to do a fee analysis together and I will structure a good strategy for you in your marketplace that you should do very, very easily to make sure that you're not leaving money on the table. So that again is worth $1,100 of my time. So this is an example of the type of information that we're going to gather from those 5 contacts you're going to give to us. And of course, provided they will return our call. And we do have that problem from time to time, but we will gather that information. So let's go through. We've already outlined over $12,000. So we can add another $2,200 worth of value to that. And so the total value is now stacked at $14,300 that we are giving you if you're able to make a decision today, if you're able to take action now. So again, just confirming, it's $1,990 or it's $199 for 12 months. So we've got the link there. You can go and order that now, the PM fee machine now, or we'll just talk about a couple of things first, but you may you've got the bonus tool. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. There is your bonus tool. The link is there. You can download that. It's a 1-page Word document that you can change. But I just want to say, no doubt, you may not be ready to click on the fee machine and order because you might have some questions. If you do, it's very typical. You may have some questions. I'm going to extend this offer for another 24 hours. If you do have any questions, book into my diary now. Now, you've got the Calendly diary link there in the chat. Where you can book in. You need to book in as soon as you can. Now, understand with my time difference, right now the time is, I think it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. So with our time differences, it's going to be late afternoon, depending on where you are, afternoon or late afternoon to chat. Book into my diary. And a Zoom link will be there so we can chat by Zoom. Okay, so a Zoom link will automatically be generated in that calendar appointment and we can connect, have a good chat, answer any questions, and then you can make a decision from there. So if you've got any questions, get in touch or email me, darren@igtmail.com. But those bonuses are really only for today, or I will hold off if you book into my diary now and you've got some questions. So I'm all done, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Is there any other questions? Please let me know. But really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed today's session as well, because I'm an absolute passionate believer in this stuff. I've been doing it so long. And I know it's just the mindsets that get in the way. It works really, really well. And I know this information is really, really going to help you. So if there isn't any questions, I just want to say thank you so much for your time and really appreciate you being here today. And I just want to say a big thank you and a big take care to everyone. And I'll have the recording out very, very soon. We just got to download it, do a bit of editing, and we'll get it over to you so you can also watch that in your own time as well. But I just want to say a big thank you very much to everybody and take care.